Hey, welcome to Homebrewer TV. We're going to have some more fun today. We're going to talk about an important subject that we all struggle with, a little sanitation. We also got a little tip for you and 2 more beers to sip on and make a comment about. So you stay with us here on Homebrewer TV. It's my personal opinion that all rules are meant to be broken. So in other words, when we're brewing and we say, oh, you have to do this, or you have to do that, you might want to try breaking those rules. Who knows? You may discover something special and new. I like rule breaking. However, there's one rule that we really got to stay with, and that's great sanitation. Now, when we did the show on first-time homebrewer, in which we demonstrated doing our very first brew after we bought a kit from the home brew in our town, well, sanitation was discussed. And what did we use for sanitation? Good old bleach in the form of Clorox. It works fine. And for the most part, if you've bought a kit, you're ready to brew, and all of a sudden you realize, uh-oh, I need sanitation. Most people have got Clorox or bleach of some sort in their home, and it works just fine. Now, there's some discussions about the possibility of chlorine being a problem in the brew. Now, there's some discussions, of course, that it's the chlorine in the Clorox that is going to create a problem for you. Well, I think if you use it well enough and smart enough by just using a small quantity and letting it drain well, you're not going to have a problem. However, it's not what I normally use, and that's what we're getting into today. All right. First of all, we've got to clean whatever it is that we're wanting to sanitize. Now, oftentimes, it can be like our boil pot that's going to end up with grunge in it, kegs with grunge in it, whatever it might be, bottles. Well, what I use for my primary cleaning is PBW. What is that? Powdered brewery wash. It was created originally for the Coors Company, but now brewers everywhere are using this product to clean the grunginess off of your stuff. So you take, the instructions are very explicit. You take a certain quantity for the amount of water you're using. Use good hot water around 130 degrees. Soak your stuff. This stuff works great. Will eliminate the grunge inside of tubing lines or your overflow bottles, whatever else has got horrible grunge. So now we've got everything clean. Well, I use 2 different kinds of sanitizers, and I'll explain exactly why. This is my favorite, Outdoor 4. It's an iodine-based sanitizer. You basically use 6 milliliters per gallon of water as a concentration, and it sanitizes anything it contacts in about 2 minutes' time. No rinsing necessary. All you have to do, dump it, and now whatever you sanitized is ready to use. I usually end up mixing up a bucket of it, and I will put all kinds of things. If it's tubing, it could be lids, bubblers, whatever. I put everything in there. But sometimes I get a little too quick, dump out my beautiful sanitizer, and I had that one little last thing to sanitize. Darn. Well, I use 5-star. And what it is I mix this up in a spray bottle. And it's so easy. So now I can spray this right on to whatever it is I need to have sanitized. It's a foaminess, stays there. Again, no rinsing, no taste, no flavor, no problems. It is a fantastic sanitizer. So that's how I clean and sanitize all of my equipment. My favorite, which is probably the cheapest, And then, of course, my standby when I screw up. So, give them a try. I think you will like them. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who still use plastic fermenters. They're fantastic. I still use them. I have a stainless steel conical, but I love using the plastic too. They work great. But how many times have you tried to get the lid off? Here's what I'm talking about. Now, putting this lid on, we know, is a major job. I use my hand, and I'm smacking it down. I mean, that's on tight. Now I come in here and I gotta pull it off, and quite honestly, it's defeated me every time I've ever tried. So, I've come up with a way to very easily get the lids off. Now, I will say there's one other way that we're not sharing exactly today, that you can buy a unit that snaps on here and then the lid screws on to the fermenter. It's a great idea. I don't know, they're $12, $15. But I found something even simpler. Went down to my local Craftsman tool store, Sears, and got a pair of these wonderful snap ring pliers. Now all I need to do is slip in here and start releasing the lid. And it doesn't take long till I have this lid ready to be rolled right off. That's all there is to it. Doesn't hurt the lid if you're careful. If you're being overzealous, it's going to break the lid. But if you're nice and careful, it takes the lid off every time. I have used this for years. Just thought I'd share this little bit with you. Hope it might help with you getting your lids off. Welcome to the tasting room, which we all know is the hardest part of the show for me. But I gotta tell you, I've been chatting with a lot of you on forums and by email, and I have decided I'm going to change the way I do the tasting room. I'm eliminating the score sheet. I'm not a professional taster, so I'm going to eliminate the score sheet. I'm going to give 1, 2, or 3 thumbs up on different beers. Plus, I kind of wanted to explore the places that make the beers and find out a little bit more about them rather than worrying about what the numbers are. So let's get started. One brewing company that has really caught my fancy, and I had never tried them until we started this show, was Dogfish Head. And today we're going to try their brown ale. Sam Calagione started Dogfish Head in 1995, and it has gone to town. It is available basically throughout the country, and they do produce some great beers. So let's get started with this one, because you know I can't wait around for long. Well, what do you think? Lovely looking beer. Oh, can't have any alcohol abuse. Oh, This one's got a high IBU, but it isn't a killer. Okay, there are some beers that are so sour or so, the hops are so bitter. That's what I want, bitter. You just go, But I've been trying a couple of theirs, and oh my goodness, they're high hops. This one happens to be a dry hopped beer, but the hop flavor is delicious. And this beer is gorgeous, beautiful head, and has this beautiful fragrance of hops. So, tasting it. Oh, this is a magnificent beer. You got to try it. This has got a lovely sweet taste to it, and the hops balance that perfectly. This is a sipping beer for a nice afternoon. I think you will enjoy this. Our next beer is from a brewery that we've also explored before, and that happened to be a Fat Tire being the beer, the New Belgian Brewing Company in Colorado. And today, we're going to get to taste a fruity type beer. I had an opportunity to chat with a gentleman named Dave at the brewery. And let me tell you, if there was a person that was excited about working for a brewery, he was wonderful. I love to talk with people who love their job and enjoy the purpose and reason for what they do. This brewery was started in 1991 by Jeff and Kim Liebisch. Jeff had been on a wonderful tour through the European countryside, ended up in Belgium, having a wonderful beer and said, I have got to brew this kind of beer back home. The next thing you know, the two of them have formed the company and started producing these great beers. Jeff sounds like an incredible individual. His passion for beer is wonderful. And his wife, Kim, is the one who basically runs the business side. So, without further ado, we're going to try this lovely Frambozen, which has got a raspberry put into it. I'm not big on fruity beers, but once in a while they might just be delightful. All right, you can really smell the wonderful fruity raspberries in this. It does smell delicious. It's a lovely beer to look at. Beautiful head. Let's have a sip. All right, I was expecting it to be a lot sweeter than it is, which would not have pleased me. I don't want a real sweet beer. This one, I like tart apples, tart strawberries, tart fruit. The raspberries have maintained their tartness, and it's wonderful. Very low hops in this. I believe it's got an alcohol content of about 6.5, and it is also delicious. Two beers you have just got to try. I guarantee. Forgot the thumbs up for these. I think we're going to go do maximum 3 thumbs up. They got 3 thumbs up apiece. I love the beers. Well, thanks for joining me here on Homebrewer TV. I'm excited that you were able to join me. But it's the end of the show, and I don't have a beer. So I'm out of here. You better be too.